Boom. Got it. First deck we're going to build today. Burgundy. Discard. And let's see. Let's add one more text box here. I don't know who requested this. Maybe it was Beard or California or someone completely different. So sorry if I forgot. But whoever recommended it. What made a good point. And that was to kind of give a tier ranking to these deck techs, because I throw out a lot of these deck techs. And if you're just watching them randomly, you might not know which ones I actually believe in that'll get you wins and which ones are just for lulz, because I like to make a lot of decks just for lulz. Oh, don't do that to me. So let's put this down here. This deck is tier 3. And I have very, very little experience with it. I played it a few times. You know, Raiders Wake, we're going to talk about Raiders Wake. It's currently not in the deck, but it probably should be. Once again, my experience level with this deck is low. I just made it to troll people one night. If you're looking for a troll deck, here you go. So let's bring it up here. The idea is just to completely destroy the other person's hand. Let's put in normal looking ones. So you turn 1 Duress into turn 2 Kite Sail Freebooter. Into turn 3 Heartless Pillage. And they should be in top deck mode at that point almost. If they're running spells. If this runs up against Merfolk, Heartless Pillage still does a lot of work. But the Duress and Freebooter could whiff pretty badly. I think this is a pretty cool addition to the deck. Since you are making him discard so much, Deadeye Tracker actually has a lot of good stuff to get. And it's pretty cool. So this is the innovation I'm most proud of for this deck. It is not over 9,000. And thank you for the Dragon Ball reference. I love Dragon Ball. I remember when Goku got to the planet where Frieza was, I had chills when Goku arrived. He was working out in the 10 times gravity and he didn't even know it and came out like a beast. I had chills with Goku going into that fight against Frieza. That was awesome. I like a Bloodfast here. I guess I only have one. Bloodfast is pretty sweet because we get to draw cards faster than they do. As is the problem with a lot of discard is you're using your own cards, so your hand gets pretty low. But we know that's going to happen because we're playing a discard deck, so it's kind of sweet to have a little card draw for ourselves. "100 times gravity Leap-O!" Yeah! Alright, we got a bunch of Dragon Ball nerds up in here. Hype! Jester talking about Namek Arc. I've never read a single Dragon Ball. I just really loved the Dragon Ball Z series. I didn't really stick with it much after that. I didn't really like the original Dragon Ball series. It was a little too kiddie for me at the age I was at. Some other good cards, though this card could get the cut. Poisoners, we got a bunch of pirates. We got Deadeye Trackers. We got Freebooters. Poisoner seems like a good card. And card of the day, Dusk Legion Zealot. Helps us draw cards. Good stuff. Dark Inquiry here. This is a good way to kill a Carnage Tyrant. Lots of people talk about Settle the Wreckage, talk about Starve Extinction and playing another Carnage Tyrant or Tetsamok. Well, this is another way to kill a Carnage Tyrant, is to get it out of their hand before they get to play it. So I like the card in this deck. In general, I don't like this card. Fel Flagship. That's interesting. It's actually a pretty good idea, Ninja. Probably better than Direfleet Poisoner, really. I mean, I agree in any normal deck entropy, I agree with you. Flagship is super disappointing because basically it's almost impossible to get through. Though I had thought about it just as an anthem and using it with like Radiant Destiny, but that's Black-White Pirates, just doesn't exist. But in this deck, when you're making them discard all their cards, then they might not have a very big board state, and Fel Flagship might be able to get through. At some point, though, the question is how much card draw is too, how much discard is too much? Golden Demise, you need some kill spells. I'm actually up to 4 Heartless Pillage right now. I was running 3, and I guess I went to 4 because I couldn't find it in like the first game I played. Another pirate, a pirate I love. Also, once again, card advantage. I think like this deck's really about taking their cards and finding ways for us to draw cards. And Ruin Raider does that. I love me some Ruin Raider. I only have 2, so that's what we're playing. 2 Vona's Hunger. I have 3, but I'm playing 2. Vona's Hunger seems really good if they can only play like 1 creature a turn. Choopaloop. I got 4 in here. This is probably too much, but it's hopefully Lebo. But the idea is that once again, you try to put them in top deck mode. And if they just play 1 creature at a time, Choop lines up pretty good against that. You kill the creature and you have a 2/2 body. There should be some amount of Choops in here. Vraska's Contempt. They can top deck a Planeswalker, so it'd be nice to have an answer. 1 Tets. And the reason we call this Burgundy is because we're splashing for 2 Angraths. Angraths, by the way, +1 is discard a card. And I even have a few more troll stuff. 1 more troll cards. Spyglass. It's not exactly discard, but it does kind of make their card useless. So that's pretty sweet. Because this is basically mono black, we can play 3 Field of Ruins, which is pretty sweet. I have not checked Ninja, but once again, I think Chris Clay writes those at midnight PST. So I wouldn't look for it till very late tonight. The nice thing about Heartless Pillage is if you can get the raid, like off a Kitesail Freebooter, is you can get that treasure, which can either accelerate you to Angrath or just give you the red mana you need to play Angrath. I have 1 Dragon Skull Summit, so I jam it in here. 1 Mountain. You can fetch it with Field of Ruin. And then 18 Swamps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 18. I do think Raider's Wake should be in here. Raider? It should be in here. So let's make sure I titled this deck Burgundy Discard. Discard. I would say 2 of these. Though you could really stack these. They're not legendary. And you'd get multiple triggers for them to discard cards. You get multiple triggers for them to lose life. So it seems pretty sweet. I'd probably cut a Choop and like a Heartless Pillage here. I think we're at 60, right? You could convince me of more Duress. You could convince me to cut these Poisoners. Maybe put in another Bloodfast. I'd probably play more Ruin Raiders if I had them. You're not going to get me to splash blue. Hostage Taker would be sweet, though, because if they're top decking, then they would have to top deck removal. Like, even if you had to do a Perilous Hostage Taker where you do it with no counter spells. The problem with discard decks like this is I hate it when people top deck good cards. I freaking hate it. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. And I don't think I should really be doing that to myself. Because when you top deck, you know they're top decking, so you know, like, anytime they get any kind of decent card, you're like, you're lucky son of a... Or that's what I'm like. You guys might handle it better. This game is not ready to be streamed, says Sundere. Well, plenty of people play blue-black control with just Hostage Taker as the creature. But he might be talking more about Siren's Ruse kind of stuff. Yeah, I want to stream this game. I could see it not being ready. I mean, they keep talking about the graphical update. My guess is that is going to have to roll out before they let us stream it. I think they're most concerned about the graphics being correct. Or as, closer to what they intend to actually release as a game. Siren's Ruse is super fun. It is. Anyways, this is it. Once again, I think this power level is low. This deck is a troll deck. Tier 3. I'm a little worried that if I put deck power as 3... Let's change this to deck tier. People are going to be like, well, 3 is higher than 1, so it must be more powerful. Even though tier 1 always means the most powerful deck. How do you spell tier? It's IE, right? So if you want to troll someone, go get him with this deck.